Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. I acknowledge the Gadigal elders and knowledge holders who have paved the way for those here now, those following proudly in their footsteps, and those yet to come as owners and custodians of country. Sovereignty has never been ceded. It always was and always will be Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander lands. I recognise the resilience and strength of all First Nations people of Australia and across the world, especially the Indigenous people of Palestine. I appreciate their knowledge sharing and stories that influence the lives of new Australians like me. I would also like to acknowledge the IFAM executive team, the organisers, the volunteers, the incredible sponsors, who through your dedication has made this convention a possibility and have brought us all here together. It's a privilege to stand before you at this pivotal convention where we gather to reflect on three values that are at the core of our identity: unity, faith, and justice. These are not abstract concepts. These are principles that guide us as individuals and as a community. A few weeks ago, I attended an arts exhibition in my home state of Western Australia in Margaret River. The theme was called Sumud, Voices from Palestine. Now, many of us know in Arabic, the word Sumud means steadfastness or steadfast perseverance. But for the Palestinian people, it is much more than just a word. It is a spirit, a way of life, a deep-rooted refusal to be displaced or erased. The concept of Sumud is not a grand sweeping gesture. It is the everyday strength that emerges from small yet monumental acts of staying. It is the farmer who tends his olive trees in the shadow of occupation. It's the child who walks to school past checkpoints in the West Bank. It's the mother who holds her family together in the face of adversity. It is the quiet courage of refusing to give up one's homeland, one's identity, even when the world seems determined to strip it away. But Sumud is also a universal message. It teaches us that in the face of injustice, the greatest act of defiance is to endure, is to remain, is to keep hope alive. It is the quiet revolution of persistence, rooted not in anger, but in a profound belief in justice, dignity, and the right to exist in peace. As we look at the struggles of the Palestinians and the people of Lebanon today, let us not just see a people in conflict, but a people embodying Sumud. Let us draw from their example and remember that true strength is not just in resistance, but in the power of staying rooted in what is right. But the foresight to appreciate what's right does not naturally come to everyone, especially not to the current Labor government. 2 weeks ago, the United Nations Assembly overwhelmingly voted in favour of a Palestinian resolution, demanding that Israel end its unlawful occupation in Gaza and the occupied West Bank region within a year. While the US joined Israel in outright opposition, New Zealand, France, and Ireland voted yes. It's shameful that Australia abstained, despite the findings of the International Court of Justice, which acknowledged the violations of international law by the illegal Israeli occupation. This landmark decision is a turning point for the Palestinian struggle for freedom and justice. It underscores the importance of international solidarity and the need to amplify Palestinian voices on the global stage. You would think that after 186,000 Palestinians being massacred, according to the Lancet Journal, over 1,800 Lebanese killed, many more thousands injured, and millions displaced, that the Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of this country would issue more than just empty statements, echoing Israel's right to self-defense, and politicking with Peter Dutton's Liberals on who is a legitimate refugee. It appears that it's clearly not enough bloodshed abroad and not enough distress here on our streets, in our communities, and in our homes for the Labour Party to cut ties with Israel, to call an end to the illegal occupation, to recognise the state of Palestine, and to end the violence in Lebanon. Amnesty International reported that on Monday, 23rd of September, Lebanon experienced its deadliest day since the end of the country's civil war in 1990. Now do the maths. It's a long time ago. So where does that leave us here today? I implore you to join me in reflecting on the theme of this convention and explore what the values of unity, faith, and justice means for us as Muslims, as citizens, and as humanitarians. And might I just add that all the views that I express in this speech is mine and has nothing to do with the organisers, just as a disclaimer out there. It's important for us to realise what political engagement in Australia during these turbulent times would mean for us as a community, and what responsibility we carry to shape our future through civic participation. The value of unity. Unity is within the political arena is more than just coming together on occasion. It is about the collective power we hold when we speak with one voice on issues that affect us as a community. Too often, we see efforts to divide us, to make us feel as though our concerns are secondary or worse, irrelevant. But when we're united, our strength is undeniable, our voice is unshakable, and our conviction is unbreakable. Together, we must advocate for leaders and representatives who stand for the best interests of our community, not just those who offer hollow promises and come knocking on your door during election time with checkbooks in hand. It's easy to be swayed by these handouts, but we cannot confuse access with influence. Political engagements go beyond attending events and taking photos with politicians. Yes, coming from a politician, I'm telling you, there's more to engaging with me than just taking photos. It's about ensuring that our voices are truly heard. It's about holding politicians to account. If we remain silent, we give permission for others to decide our future for us. We have a voice that demands action, and we must use it to demand justice, fairness, and opportunity for all Australians, particularly those in our community who have been historically marginalised or overlooked. Now we think about the value of faith. Faith gives us the foundation to stand firm in our values, even when it's difficult. In these times of uncertainty and political manoeuvring that we're witnessing, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We may be tempted to settle for less or to compromise on principles for short-term gains. But our faith teaches us to look beyond the surface, to recognise that justice is not for sale. I'm reminded by the verse 135 in Surah An-Nisa, where it says, "O believers, stand firm for justice as witnesses for Allah, even if it's against yourselves, your parents, or those close relatives. Be they rich or poor, Allah is best to ensure their interests. So do not let your desires cause you to deviate from justice." This is a profound reminder, to me first, but to all of us collectively, that our responsibility to uphold justice, no matter the cost and no matter who is on the receiving end. We must aspire to leaders who embody these values, leaders who are not in it for personal gain, but who act in the best interest of our community with integrity and transparency. And there may be many leaders sitting amongst us today as I speak. As Muslims, we're not strangers to challenges, but we have the resilience and the faith to push through. What we cannot allow is to be blinded by the government's deceptive ways of trying to win votes through one-off handouts or empty promises. Real progress comes from sustained commitment, not a check in an election year. We must always ask, are these politicians doing what's best for our community, or are they just trying to buy our silence? Brothers and sisters, the phrase "nothing about us without us" has never been more relevant to us. We must be at the table when decisions are being made about our future. We must demand more than just access. We must demand influence. We cannot afford to sit on the sidelines, because if we do, others will be making decisions for us without us. We cannot allow anyone, and anyone is capitalized, we cannot allow anyone to take us, our community, and our support for granted. We cannot allow anyone to mistake our genuine intentions for naivety, our hospitality for desperation, and our friendship for subservience. Let us remember that we have the power. We are not a passive community waiting for change to come. We are a dynamic force that can shape the political landscape of this country, but only if we are organized, if we are engaged, and if we have relentless pursuit for justice. I want to leave you with this thought. Unity is not just about being together in one place. It's about having a shared purpose. Faith is not just about what we believe. It's about how we live by those beliefs every day. And justice is not just about fairness for ourselves, it's about fairness for everyone. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us, strengthen us, and grant us the wisdom to lead with courage and conviction, to be the voice of the voiceless, and to rise above the forces that seek to divide us. Ameen. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Honorable Senator Fatima Payman. Senator is still here, and we have some time for questions. She's happy to take questions. If you have any questions, please raise your hand, and volunteers will bring microphone to you. And inshallah, Honorable Sister Senator Fatima Payman will give you the answer. Anybody, sisters, brothers?
I'm Salma, and I'm a U12 student, and I have a question regarding what specific things do you recommend us to do as youth so that we're able to support you?
Jazakallah khair. Thank you, Salma, for that wonderful question. Thank you. That was also a question. Can I answer that question and then we go to others, if that's okay? All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for that question. I really do appreciate, and I'm in absolute awe of everyone's support, whether it's through emails, whether it's through comments, calling my office, or inviting me to incredible events like this, where I get to share with you my experience, but also what vision we have together as a collective for the community moving forward. I would just say at this stage to stay tuned. There's quite a few things that are going to be rolling out in the near future, but there will be opportunities to help out to spread the word. But I think for now, it's about having the discourse, it's about raising awareness about what's happening in Palestine. It's making sure that within our community, people feel safe, people feel supported when it comes to the grief and the pain that they're going through. And it's not just our Palestinian brothers and sisters, but our Lebanese communities as well. So I think for now, just do the incredible work that you guys have already been doing. Thank you.
Senator Fatima, I'm Rehan Alvi from SBS. I've interviewed you in the past as well. But the new development is there. There's ABC report about your own political party. I just want to ask one question. That's how you will ensure that the vote of the community will not be divided into next election, and the opponents who wants to see the labor division further will get the benefit of that. And how you will ensure that?
I wouldn't take responsibility for making sure that, all our community leaders are on the same page. I think it needs to come as an initiative from those community leaders. I would hope for the best, that as community leaders we want to see a collective movement moving forwards. In regards to how they're going to operate, that's a question that is best referred to them rather than me. I can continue advocating and guiding and sharing my vision for a better Australia that's more inclusive, that has all the voices at the table, that sees a Muslim community that is stronger, united, and that we're making inroads. I feel like we're one of the most successful individuals within our communities, whether it be in the medical field, the IT field, the business field. We are flourishing as a community. We just need to be able to come together and move towards a common goal and that shared purpose that I was talking about earlier. But it would definitely be interesting to raise that question with our community leaders and the heads of organisations.
Where's the microphone?
Yeah, it's really tough with the lights to see who's got the mic.
Thank you so much, sister. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I'm waiting for your party to finalize my voting intentions for next year.
Jazakallah khair.
But before then, could you please share your resilience, your strength with our daughters and sisters here? With you one side, all the media in Australia on the other side, about issues that affect all of us. And you are still winning, and you are still on your feet. That is what I want you to share with us.
Jazakallah khair. I'll just make a brief comment. I think the resilience that comes to us as a community, as the Muslim Ummah, is what keeps us going. And for me, my late father's, Allah yarhamu, his saying of live life with a free conscience and you have no one to fear, that has stuck with me, and that was what I kept on reminding myself in those turbulent times where, yes, having to face media at the age of 29, you don't expect to receive the backlash for standing up and having principles. But when you've got a clear conscience, when you know that you're accountable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and at the end of the day you can sleep soundly knowing that you're on the right side of history, knowing that you've stood up for justice, even as in Surah Nisa we know, even if it's against ourselves or against those that are your close relatives. I had seen the Labor Party as my political family. I've always voted and campaigned for the Labor Party, and to stand against them because they were not on the right side of justice, it was a big call, but it was a call that I have no regrets.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. My question to you, Senator, is what can community organizations do to improve their outreach or gain more pull from the politicians when they make representations to them? What would you like us to see us do so that we can gain maximum from our interactions with the politicians?
So how do you engage on a deeper level with politicians rather than just on a superficial, inviting them to events where they attend and maybe say a few words and then they leave? It's the ongoing engagement of whether you write them letters, whether you sign petitions and you send it to them, whether you put demands on them. And something very simple earlier on that I noticed a lot of my own Labor colleagues were refusing to do is reading a story of a Palestinian girl or a Palestinian boy who suffered so much in the chamber. You know, whatever gets discussed within those four walls, whether it's the Senate chamber or the House of Reps chamber, has immense impact and has ripple effects into our society. And when I saw just the way they were so averse to the idea, made me realize they only need us for our votes. You know, sharing our stories, sharing the reality of the ground is not something that they were interested in. So how do you build that? It will take time. It will take the piece of accountability that we're aiming for here, ensuring that when you've got an elected representative, whether it's an independent, whether it's from a minor party, whether it's from another party, if that is a person that you as a community feel that they have your best interests at heart and they deliver, you know, you put asks on them and they deliver, you request for whether it's bills, whether it's motions, whether it's petitions to be tabled, and they deliver. When you ask them to be outspoken on a matter that is unique to the community and they deliver, that's when you know that's a keeper. But the moment they don't, you have the power. As a community, you are lending your vote to whoever comes into your electorate or into the government or leads your state as senators. So it really, I think our community, alhamdulillah, is waking up to the reality that the power lies with you of electing and engaging with your officials on your term, because we're inverting the leadership pyramid. Usually it's like this, right? Where those on top tell you how things should be done. But we're going to invert that because you are the best people to know what you need. And you need to be feeding that information to your leaders. And if your leaders are not willing to listen, then you know you can kick them out. You can even kick me out if I'm not doing right by you and if I'm not doing right by my constituents in Western Australia. That's what leadership's about. Leadership is not just about a title, a position, a status increase. Nothing like that. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with leadership, and if your leaders are not delivering, you know what to do.
Assalamu alaikum, Honorable Senator Fatima Payman. The question I had was, what is the current situation around decisions being made around the Palestinian genocide and war crimes in the parliament currently?
So, thank you. Great question. Well, we're seeing the escalation into Beirut and Lebanon, and we are constantly seeing the response of the Labour government that once I thought were the most courageous and they were champions of human rights. And what they're delivering and what we're seeing roll out is them pandering more to maintaining the status quo, maintaining the line that Israel has the right to defend itself, instead of being more adamant, more forceful, more assertive with cutting ties. Because if you believe, or if Australia believes that Israel's a friend, well, if your friend was doing something wrong, wouldn't you stop your friend? You would. And so instead of stopping Israel, Australia just seems to have given them the green light to continue massacring and continuing the genocide that now has transitioned to killing a new group of people. And yes, Israel had been attacking Lebanon for a while, but like I said, the deadliest days that we're seeing and those casualties are going to rise. Those numbers are going to keep increasing if Australia doesn't, as a middle power, act responsibly within our Indo-Pacific region and take a stronger stance. Thank you. Where am I looking at?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
My name is Taha, and I was just wondering, how can young Australians enter the world of politics?
Can you speak a bit louder?
How can young Australians enter the world of politics, and what party should we enter if we were to?
I just said stay tuned. In terms of how you can get involved, I know some of you may know me as the Skibbity Senator. Yeah, that's me. I know, I take that title with a lot of pride, alhamdulillah. How can you get involved? It's about making sure your voices are heard. And I know that the government is talking about this social media ban. If you've got concerns, write to your Member of Parliament, whether it's the senator for your state or your local representative or your state representative, because right now the Prime Minister is talking to the premiers and chief ministers of the states and territories to see, where he can get some level of understanding to enforce this ban. Again, it comes to how responsibly are we using platforms like social media. I know that there's harmful impacts of social media, but cybersecurity experts have come out and said that by planting this ban, you're not addressing the root causes of the problem. So all the young people in the crowd, I would say get involved, learn, firstly educate yourself, intellectually learn about your political rights, learn about how our political system works, the 3 levels of government, how it works, how you can get involved, whether that's through volunteering, whether that's through a campaign or an activism platform. For example, there's an organisation called Social Reinvestment WA. In WA, that's massive amongst young people. I'm not sure what the equivalent here in New South Wales would be. But it's a great opportunity for you to meet other like-minded people, to embark and understand the concept of organising when it comes to how do you organise as a community. And I think that's one thing we can learn from the Zionist lobby, is they're very organised. And we need to become more organised, because I feel like we have incredible ideas, incredible initiatives, but everyone's operating in their little silos. We need to come together as a collective and learn to work under the same umbrella.